Hello everyone. In the last video we have seen some of the string methods in JavaScript. So in this video we are going to see some of the number methods and if little bit about the array. So let's get started. In the JavaScript, numbers are basically we have like double and integer. So if we have something like decimal point, which is double or floating point, and we have this integer, and if we have something like scientific number, we can write like with the value of e. And the possible methods are like all the addition and subtraction we can do. We have this parenthesis as well. So the precedence always take the first parenthesis and the curly braces and the square braces. And this is normal addition. So if we have something like number and a string, if we do the addition, we have seen in the previous video, right? So what it will gonna do is like it will gonna print something 10 plus 20, something like that. So it will be 10 20 because it it cannot convert this string to a integer. So in this case, either we have to convert this to a integer or some number value, or we have to somehow
It's 10 o'clock.
tell the browser that this is not a string, it's a number. So one way of doing is something like if we have something like this, so this will do that. The other way is like you can just convert it using the integer. So one way is like if we have a string, right, bar, something like this, we can pass it to integer. So if we say type of str is a string, right, we can do str dot, I think uh, I'm not sure. Let's see how to convert it. Just is string to int, I believe something like this. Okay, so okay, so there is global method already, parse in str. We can do that, and we can pass it into integer, and you can say type of int is a number. So this is one way of doing it. The other way I have shown just now, right? What we can do is like we can add a plus sign and it will be a number. So that way you can handle the scenario. And another example is like if we divide 100 as integer to divide by this string, it will be a none because this apple is not a number. This one also x will be 10, because usually when you convert something like using a divide by, it will gonna understand that this is a integer. But when we pass a string, it will be it will be not a number, so this will return a true. Okay, so this is something I believe some of the edge cases which always you can check, but these are good to know. So sometimes in some of the interview they will gonna ask this question. And another thing is like infinity in JavaScript. Infinity is a type of variable actually. So if you say uh, infinity, uh, you can that is infinity as a type, so something like this. So this is one example while number not equal to infinity execute for the until infinity. So let's see, hexadecimal, yeah. So we can use hexadecimal value also as well in JavaScript, which is also a number. So for example, if we set something like this, and if we print the x, it will be 255. So hexadecimal also gets supported. So if we have a number something like this, which we can pass to string, so 32 to string 10 will be 32, 32 is string 32 will be 10, and to a string of 16 will be 16. So these are all base number, okay. So 10 base, 32 base, 16 base, 8 base, and 2 base. 2 base is for the binary number, which if you convert this binary number to a decimal number, which is this decimal, which will be 32 as well. And another thing is number cannot be object. So if we have new number something like this, it cannot be a object. Type of number is always written a number, but if we have something like new number something, this y will be a type of object. So we can see that text here, type of y is the object. But if we do it string, we can convert it in string also, so similar to that. So and this is the warning sign. So if you create a number, right, it is not recommended to using a new keyword, because it will slow down the execution. The better way, you can just write the number something like this. However, if we have x equal to 500 and y equal to 500, this is always a true. But let me show this example. X y is true, but what if we keep 3 is a false, because this x is a type of number and this y will be type of object. So that's why this is a false, and this will be always false, because object, you cannot compare an object using a equal sign, okay. But if you what if, but then question is, what if you use the triple equal, and this will be false as well, because we, as you mentioned, right, we cannot compare object. And let's see the number methods, okay. So we have these two string which we have seen to convert into some values, like for example, like 10 decimal or to hexadecimal or something like that. Then we can convert this to a string, and if we have addition of two string, will be also 123. So that's work as well. To exponential 2 is to make a scientific number with 2 to the power something, which will also work. Other than that, okay, to fix is to move the decimal point. So if we have 9.6 something and to fix decimal point 0, it will print it as 10. So it will use the mathematical preference if it's more than 0.5 or something. So that will convert to 10 something. So this is all the mathematical equation. And if we have this and 6.4 and to fix of 4, it will add extra 0 on top of it. To precision, yeah, so the precision point always take the mathematical precedence. So if we set to precision, it will always return the same number. If we have 2 digit of the from the decimal point, so it will come until here. Since it is a 6, so it will come into 7, something like that. So 9.7. So I hope this is understandable. Then x equal to 20, and then x value of, so if we have 1 2 3, and then if we return a value of, it will return a number. And then if we have something like this, it will also expression of 223, 100 plus 23. So this is the method I was looking just before. So we have this number with the pass floating number. So floating is when we have decimal point, which if we have integer, and this is like normal number. These are all our global JavaScript method for numbers. So numbers true return 1 because it's a boolean, number false is 0. So this is very useful. Always return is 0 is a false and 1 is true. And number 100, it will return the 100. So number always it will return. So these are all useful. Cannot use this comma or space or any string, so all will return as none. And we have this date. If we have a date and we convert in number, it will gonna convert in number of date, which will be your timestamp, millisecond. Okay, pass int. Okay, so if we have negative number also, it will gonna negative number display. Since it's a decimal number, we pass it int, it will gonna only return this -10. It will not return any precision point. What about this? So it only convert this first argument, after space it doesn't take care of this. So if we have this concept like this, so this years is none, but here it has years and this doesn't call this years, so you only call this 10. Floating point is also same. If we have 10, it will convert 10, but if we have some decimal point, it will also return the decimal point, whereby just remember here it didn't return the decimal point. And also here the years is none and this will return 10. So number has this max value, minimum value properties in JavaScript, so we can always write this max value and mean value, something like this. Positive infinity, so we have seen the variable infinity, right? So we can also define positive infinity, negative infinity, and none is also not a number value, we can define as well. So I think this one just now we saw, right? The minimum value and number maximum value. Another thing is, if we do something 1 divided by 0, usually in mathematical term, if we divide 1 divided by 0, it should return a infinity because it should complex number. So it cannot return this, so it either through exception or anything. In JavaScript it will return a infinity. So if we have a definition like x equal to number dot none, it will set to none value. 100 divided by apple, it will be a none value, not a number, because apple is not a number. So that's it for the number part. For the array, we have seen some of the example on our previous videos how to define an array. Array is in JavaScript, array is a type of object, just for refresher, so we can check it here as well. So if you have something like this and if you say type of cars, it will be an object as well. And array is a sequence of value, so we have this 0 index, 1 index and 2 index, so it will define until the index. And we cannot extend the array, like let's say if we have defined array of value of 10, and we cannot add a new value or subtract a new value from the array. What I mean is, like let's say if we have sub and Volvo and BMW is already predefined size, and if you want to remove this Volvo, we want to ship the BMW to this place, then this either we have to keep this place index as empty, or we have to define a new array. Just a reminder, usually what we do is, like if we have size n size of array and we have to larger the array size, we always create a double size of the array. So yeah, we can break the value as well like this, and we can call the 0 index up like this. We can set also the new value as well, that will work also. we can call a new array and something like this. That will also work using the new keyword. And we can get the index value from an array using the index. So 0 index will be sub, and 1 index will be Volvo and BMW. And changing the value also, like if you want to change something, we can change based on the index value. Always remember that calling a value by index is very faster compared to searching the value. We can if we haven't seen loop so far. When you're gonna see loop, we understand that we can traverse this array and we can look for this value, but we can also look for this value by the index number as well. So yeah. So this is the one example where we want to display the whole element of a array into the index, so something like this. And inner HTML cars, which is a array as well. Yeah, so in array we can also define different types of um, value. So we have this John Doe and 46. So it can be any types, because it's since it's an object, so it can in JavaScript we can do it. However, in other programming language where we have the specific type of array, like for example in Java or Golang or anything, we cannot do this. If we have a string, we have to have a string here as well, whereby in JavaScript we can do that. We can define an object something like this, and this is similar to, this is also an object, whereby how we call is like person dot first name, person dot last name, something like this we can call, whereby in array we call it by the index number. So we, okay, person, so this already defined. Let's say person 1 dot first name, we can do that. Or we can also call by this like this. So if you see how we access the array, right, it's always the same. So if we see person, we call by the 1 index or 0 index, right? How about then person 1, we should be able to call as well, right? But see the difference here. We have this person 1, 0 index is not available, since we put a curly braces. It's not able to accessible by the index, but we're able to call by something like this using the index number. So what I mean is, here what we do is, like, we put in the index number as the string value, this age, first name, last name, and whenever we don't define it, it uses the numbering 0 1 as an index. So just to make it clear. So yeah, so we can type different array element, can be anything. We can put a date, we can put a function, and we can put an object as well. So by default we have different different methods in array. So for example, for person, we can say length, it will total size of the person. We can sort it by the sort method, so it will gonna sort it based on the ASCII value. So it will gonna sort by the alphabetic character and numeric character as well. So accessing the first element is 0, what we have seen before just now. And then so since length define is a, for example, this will define as a 4 element, right? And array always start from 0 index, so 0 1 2 3, and if we say the length, it will define as a 4. So we always have to subtract 1 when you want to get the last index. And this is for on a loop. So if we have a loop or something, we can do something like this. So what I mean is, we can traverse the full array. So we have this for list, and we get the length using the array dot length, just now we have seen. And we have this text variable, where we have this UL element of HTML, and we say that we start from I equal to 0, and we don't, so it in the for loop, just for understanding, right, in for loop we have three element. First element is the initial value, is the exit condition and incremental condition. So first we define as a 0, and the length is this array will gonna, this loop will gonna exit when I is less than length. So so what I mean is, like, when I is 0 initially, it will still execute. When I is 1, 2 and 3, it will still execute. When I is 4, still it will execute, but when it's 5, it will not execute anymore. Okay, so now it will gonna loop over this array, and then it will append this text with this li element with the array index, and then text will gonna also append this ul, so it will gonna display all this element into the your html. So we have seen this, all the elements are being displayed here. And if we have something like this, right, let's say in the loop we have here, if we had put something invalid like +1, so length will be now 5, and it will try to get the fifth element. So this is a common error we face as a programmer, array index out of bounds. So in this case it will gonna say undefined, because it doesn't have this value. So just always remember that when you call by index, make sure you call the array index as available in the array. We have another type of loop which is we call for each. So for each also do the same thing, but just different way. So for each we're gonna take a function, and this function will gonna take the value. So it will gonna, this for each function we can write another way also. For example, if we have this person, right, we have this for each which actually take a function, and we take a value, and we can write all the logic here. So that's why we can write the for each as well. We will learn more about this loop in the future video when we gonna see loop, for loop in JavaScript. So we can add a element, adding a new element. What we can do is, like, we can do the fruits.push. So push is something we add element, but internally JavaScript do lots of things. So for now that's not the intention for us to go in deep, but we can just remember that we can add a new element also in the array. So if we do that, for example, let's see this example. And we see that the new element lemon is being added on the list. We can so just now we give example, right? So for example, this now we have 3 element and we are trying to get the 6 index. This will create an undefined hole in the fruits object. So we can see the example as well. Okay, let's say we fruits 1. So as you see, when you try to access the extra 6 element, it will create a larger array where 1 2 3 4 5 6 is missing on this array. So just make sure, if you add a new element by the index, make sure it add on the last index, otherwise it will create some undefined value. So yeah, we can get the length, okay, because we are adding each time one element. So first element will return the John. This is something we understand. We can first name, last name, age, this will also work. So we can try this as well. Let's refresh the page. So if we say person, now we have this array of age, first name, last name of the person. Now we can access by the length also, zero index also, because all is it is a under a array as well. Difference between array and object. Okay, so arrays are a special kind of object with numbered index, so just always remember this. So the definition of array for this is a um, um, bad choice. It is always recommended to define an array with something like this. When we have something like loss of a number here, is always good practice to define like this way, so memory runtime is faster compared to defining array like this. So the new complete only complicate the code, it can also produce some unexpected result, something like this. So how to recognize an array? So we already see, right? Return an object solution, so this will always return an object, right? But how to know is a array or not? So solution one is array dot is array is a fruits, it will return a true. So we can see the example, right? Dot is array, and we can pass the person. So this way we can if we pass an object, right? So that's the object. So this is a object, right? Type of object, right? And if we say array dot is array, it is a false. So that way we can recognize a array or not. Also there's another way is a fruits instant of array. This is another way we can find if it's array or not. So I believe this video is would be useful for your interview as well, because lots of things we have covered in this video. You're gonna see that in different interview they're gonna ask you like specifically on the array related question. So do a study on this page, and please let me know if you have any question. See you on the next week. Bye.